Hello everyone. We're going to be doing a bit of texturing on the sword today, and let me just show you where I got yesterday with it. Let me just switch over to Max here. So yesterday we were blocking out the sword, and here is the finished product. And I went ahead and UV'd the model already. We're using a kind of a vertical texture format. We're doing 1024 tall by 512 wide. And let me just switch over to I'm going to be doing a lot of work most of the work in Photoshop and 3D Coat. I'm going to switch over to Photoshop real quick. Okay, so here is my wireframe for my texture. As I said, I did a vertical format. That's how we did the all the weapons for Battle Chasers so far. We're going to be referencing this concept more than anything, and the rendering is so well done on it that we're probably going to actually sample from this concept quite a bit too, and do some cleanup on it and just use it as a part of the diffuse texture. One thing we're going to avoid is trying to go with these pure blacks. We're going to adjust that quite a bit. So knowing that, what I went ahead and did is baked this onto my model here, and so this gives me a little bit of just a guide really to kind of go by. Actuality, we'll probably drop this down quite a bit and then build it back up, and just use the pieces that I really want to use. Okay, I'm going to jump over in 3D Coat and generate a AO map real quick. Okay, so I got this in 3D. Actually, I want to throw my texture over in here real quick. So you can kind of see, just copying that concept over onto the model. This is kind of what we have as a starting point. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't quite match up. A lot of stuff is a little wobbly. We'll be cleaning that up quite a bit. And there's a lot of fill in the blank areas. But this has most of everything that we need on the sword anyway, so often if we get a detailed concept from the client, we'll use that within the texturing process to kind of speed it up, and it just always looks really good. So okay, let's just get in and start texturing some of this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and start cleaning up this to match the UVs a lot more. And also the lighting is quite extreme on this. This is a static painting, and we're going to make something that moves around, so we're going to balance the lighting out a bit. But I just want to kind of start doodling this stuff in here. How's the music today? Is it too soft or too loud? Just let me know. Okay, I just turned it up. Let me know if that's better. This edge right here is kind of our blade edge, so we're going to pull a lot of this detail to both this edge and the exterior edge here. And I'll sample some of this up here. I like to be kind of sketchy with this stuff. I like the little accidents that happen when you just keep your brush strokes in. So I'm working in Photoshop right now. Somebody had asked what program I'm using. I also want to take out anything that is almost pure white. Kind of block it down a little bit here. See, here's a good example of, I think, this face, although it's cool, is a little wide for this area. So we're just going to pull it in a little bit. And we'll sort these the teeth in this area out later. I'm just gonna knock it back though. For now. You can see by working sketchy, I get these little happy like color mixes and strokes in there still. I think I'm going to end up simplifying this area a bit. I think they're just based on what I've seen of the game, that when you zoom out a lot of that detail gets lost. And I think our three main focal points is this big skull, the face in the middle, and then ultimately the demon in the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of little things here. First, I want to just do a little shading here real quick. I just got a layer that I'm using some soft light on just to get a little something started here. Then I'm going to do some smudge with sample all layers on a new layer. Just kind of blend that a bit. Sorry, my Photoshop's taking a little while to respond. Well, hopefully I didn't crash it. There it goes. So another thing I like to do is just do a couple of filters just to kind of block down the details that are in the concept a little bit, kind of blend them together. Here I'm going to do some paint daubs. So you see there's all those real small, fine black lines right now, but doing this I can kind of make it more about the paint. And then on this one, I'm going to actually sharpen up those lines. Then I'm going to bring that down real low. Alright. So as you see, I'm kind of making everything a little bit more neutral, and then that allow me to go in and make things darker or brighter as a need. Okay, I'm actually going to do a little projection painting here. lot of times when I have details like this, I like to go ahead and draw through so I can get the shape just right first. Then I'll come back and you know, just erase what I don't need. like I mentioned, all this detail is really, really cool. I love it. But when you're thinking about the game res model, we're going to have to simplify some of this design. So areas like this where there's like 3 details, will it work with 2, or 1? Just getting little shots of bounce light color in here. Trying to establish thicker planes. I like to break up straight lines as much as I can with just a little bit of little visual interest there. Okay, so we've been working in projection for a while here, and sometimes it doesn't work so well, so I better go ahead and test it. What I like to do is just make a copy real quick just in case. Because if anything, I can just paste it back onto the concept if it, or onto the UVs if anything. The other thing I want to do is I like to create these little palette dots every once in a while if it's a color I want to go back to. I establish my darkest color here with this dot, and then this is my bounce light color. So I want to add those two colors to my PSD. So just find an empty spot. I'm going to create, I'm just going to do it in the background. Alright, so let's see how well this projection came out. Just to show you, this is before, and then here's after. Just gonna kick that back over here, and now it's on my model. So while we're here in 3D code, I'm going to do a little bit of course correction here. Okay. For some reason, sometimes when I go back and forth between 3D Code and Photoshop, I lose my pressure sensitivity. I just have to do it over again, and it'll start working again. Okay, does anybody have any questions? I'm probably going to wrap this up and just kind of, it's more of the same. Actually, what I'll do is I'll show you kind of what the finishing stage would be. Like once I have all this blocked in the way I really like it. Again, there's still some more planes I need to establish, but I created a new layer, and what I do is I fill it with black. And I put it to color dodge. And then when I paint with white, what I'll do is it will give me these nice sharp highlights, and it uses the color underneath. So basically, this is the glazed donut. This is where you put the glaze on. Okay, so you can kind of see this. It just makes everything sharper and pops. And let me zoom in a little bit more on it. And what's great about using the color dodge layer is it's basically blowing out the colors that are underneath. So if if it has browns or blues in it, it's gonna bring those colors forward instead of just being pure white. Okay, so let's see if I can answer some questions here. Okay, it looks like somebody asked the poly count for the sword. We're at about 1,000 tries for the sword. It's a big heavy. One thing I do especially it's really easy to do with something that is hand painted and not relying on normals. Is I can overshoot the poly count a bit, and then after it's textured, it's very easy to see what can and can't be optimized. So, for example, let me just save this. Okay, so now that we have these details on, I can come in here and just start collapsing, and then take a look and see like how much does that really impact. very little. So I can start erasing a lot of these polygons on the interior here. They're mostly there just for me to have some kind of a guide while I texture. And honestly, there would be cases where, like, for instance, if I did this face right here is just basically a poly sticking out, but once I start texturing it, it might not work. So I can easily just change that, adjust it, add to it, take away from it, whatever I need to do. Let's see here. Poly count. Oh, so the glazed donut. This is kind of an old school poly count guy, but there was an artist named Jason Sollenbach who went by Dark Horizon, and I worked with him along with Paul Warzica, who's the lead character artist on Diablo now. But we worked together, and we were breaking down each other's style, and we were at a bakery. And I mentioned the fact that what really makes Dark Horizon style pop the most is the fact that like, we were looking at pastries, and there was two of the same pastry. One of them was just plain, and the other one had glaze on it. And that one with glaze looked way better and way more appealing. And I was like, that right there is how Dark Horizon textures, and it's just something that's kind of stuck with me ever since. The glazed donut pass on everything. The texture size on this is 512 wide by 1024 tall, and it will not have specular. It'll just be diffuse only. Okay, so I think that if nobody else has any questions, then I'm going to call it for today. I'm going to do a bit more work on it, and we'll probably cover the wraps on the handle tomorrow. I'll show you how I use 3D Code to kind of lay all that stuff out. And as far as the rest of the sword goes, it's pretty much more what I just did on the skull. Okay, so once again, this is a Chaoseater sword for the Battle Chasers Kickstarter. This is an exclusive weapon for those who back the Battle Chasers Kickstarter. So please follow the links underneath the stream. They'll get you over there. And I've been hyping there's a stretch goal in there right now that's for a Devil Hunter, and I'm really excited about seeing that. So hopefully we can get them up to that point. So please go, if you haven't backed already, please go back them. Yeah. So and we'll be back tomorrow to do a little bit more texturing. Okay. Thanks, guys. Later.